Michelle Williams, please make your way to the front, baby girl, because you need to explain to us why you are being mentioned in Diddy's trial. Baby, is there something you know that we should know? I definitely don't see you as a freak-off kind of girl. So did the diddler do something to you as well? Or are you being summoned because of Diddy's connection to Jay-Z and Beyoncé? Well, a name that surprised me other than Michelle was Lauren London. Like, what could she possibly have to do with Diddy? And Mike Myers? How is he on the list? Was Mike Myers dragged into the case over the scene in 2002's Austin Powers? Goldmember, where the character of Dr. Evil had an E. Diddy tattoo on his behind after spending time in prison? This scene also had Beyoncé in it, by the way. Also, Robert Downey Jr. What does this have to do with Diddy? This only tells us that we are in for quite a number of surprises once this trial starts. But can I just first start by noting how the jury selection process was hell? On the first day of the selection, the potential jurors were asked a bunch of questions, including whether they would be able to discuss matters of an intimate nature with other jurors, whether they or anyone close to them has undergone SA training, and whether they've already developed any biases toward Diddy or anyone accusing him. Well, many of them left after they said that some receipts were already all over social media, so they could be biased. Others mentioned the surveillance video released by CNN in a Los Angeles hotel hallway in 2016. One juror said that the video could be considered damning evidence, while another called it shocking and scary. Then, after yet another juror who mentioned the video exited the courtroom, Diddy's lead defense attorney expressed his frustration over the video's impact on the jury selection process. In addition, some jurors said that they felt biased against wealthy celebrities like Diddy, who may believe they're above following the law. Others were dismissed for standard reasons, like medical exemptions, lack of English language proficiency, and scheduling conflicts. Of course, the prosecution and the defense will narrow the number down to the 12 who will serve on the trial, plus 6 alternates. But before adjourning the courtroom, the judge reminded jurors that they should refrain from reading or listening to any information related to the case outside of the courtroom, and that they cannot discuss the trial with anyone. Good luck with that. Now to the interesting part. As jury selection continued, the judge revised his line of questioning to ask whether potential jurors personally knew any of the celebrities mentioned. And one of the people he questioned the potential jurors about was Michelle Williams. Yes, Michelle from Destiny's Child. Child? This definitely had me questioning what Michelle had to do with the case. For starters, we never saw her hanging around Diddy. She also doesn't look like the kind that would get down and dirty at the freak-offs. So why exactly would she be mentioned in the trial? Is there something she knows? Did Diddy do anything to her? When Michelle's name came up, one of the first things that came to mind for a lot of people was that this has got to do with Jay-Z and her bestie Beyoncé being involved with Diddy. I mean, it's not a secret that Michelle and Beyoncé have maintained their sisterhood, regardless of what went down when they were part of Destiny's Child. In fact, back in 2021, Michelle talked to Us Weekly about how she maintained a close friendship with all her former bandmates. She said, "I would just say respect and keeping our friendship kind of between us. We don't share secrets. I don't treat any of my friends any differently than Beyoncé and Kelly. We just honor each other's hearts, really." Around this time, Michelle also talked about how the media wanted to write its own narrative of jealousy, spats, and drama, but none of that was true. She did say that they had disagreements like any friends or coworkers do, but ultimately, they all had a deep respect for each other as artists and as women. She said, 20 years later, we still share that gift of friendship. Maybe it was because of our friendship. Maybe it was because of the success. But mostly, it was just our destiny to sing and perform together. See what I did there? I know that's true because it never really felt like work, even though they were investing every minute, every thought, every cell of their being into the group. Their connection was real, and it brought life to Michelle in some of her darkest moments. And still, even living the absolute dream, she was living with 2 of the most amazing women as coworkers and best friends, yet there would be pitch black dark moments. As far as the friendship goes, when Jay-Z was handling his lawsuit recently, it was reported that Beyoncé turned to the former member of Destiny's Child, Michelle Williams, to confide in because the whole situation was becoming unbearable. Allegedly, Bey spent days crying, and Michelle allegedly stood by her and prayed with her every day as she considered all of her options. Based on what insiders said, Michelle has always been Beyoncé's most spiritual friend, and she helped her get through the Beyoncé hate train in the early 2000s. She is allegedly one of the first people they confided in, and they spoke every evening when Jay-Z was handling the lawsuit. Plus, even before Diddy's cases were made public, there were interviews happening behind the scenes for about a year. And the things that were made public were not even half of what happened. In Cassie's case, particularly, Jay-Z and Beyoncé were allegedly mentioned in the original lawsuit. The thing is, Cassie's lawsuit was initially 60 pages, but it was narrowed down to 35 pages. And if we already found the things in the 35 pages horrific, imagine what else was there that had to be edited out. Clearly, what they edited out was worse than what was left in the lawsuit. Allegedly, in the lawsuit, Cassie also mentioned Jay-Z and Beyoncé by talking about something that went down at one of Diddy's parties. So maybe Michelle being mentioned in the court had something to do with Jay-Z and Beyoncé being involved with Diddy, and their names will probably come up too. Or maybe Michelle had her own unpleasant interaction with Diddy, or maybe she saw something, we just don't know. The judge also said that there are pages upon pages of names and places that will come up in the trial, so we are probably going to see a lot of shocking names in the coming days. But so far, another one of the celebrities who was mentioned is Kanye West, and maybe it has something to do with the jail call he and Diddy had back in March. In the leaked recording, Diddy is heard encouraging Ye to get back to having fun in music and performing, and he was also recorded proclaiming he'd be found innocent of his charges. The call was leaked just days after Ye dropped the song featuring Diddy. Given how Ye has been so vocal about Diddy, that name doesn't surprise me. Tell you the real from the front line. You know what I'm saying? It's wicked, 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 so you be careful. We can't do nothing today. You know what I'm saying? I need you out there. You feel me? Yes, sir. Man, have some fun. Had no fun. And then get behind the mic. Have some fun. Chop up them samples. Get back on. Have some fun. Get back to smiling. These other mother, they wasting your time. You know what I'm saying? So put that love in your heart, man. And enjoy yourself, man. When I get out there, I'm going to see you tear down the stadiums. I need to see you back on that stage, actually rapping and performing and everything. I be dreaming of that. Michael B. Jordan was also mentioned, but we know he was referenced in Cassie's lawsuit because the two had a flirty relationship in 2015. Who knows? Maybe Diddy threatened him. Same with Kid Cudi. This was also definitely because of Cassie and the fact that Diddy blew up his car because he had something going on with Cassie. Of course, Cassie was also mentioned during the process because she is the one who actually set the ball rolling. Another name that came up is Dallas Austin. All I could gather is that the producer was a childhood friend of Kim Porter, Diddy's late partner, who became a point of conversation as people speculated whether Diddy had something to do with her sudden death. There's also Lorianne Gibson, who filed a complaint about Diddy to the police back in 2007, claiming Diddy picked up a chair, threatening her on the set of Making the Band. No surprise there, former Danity Kane member Dawn Richard also made the cut. But we also know that she previously sued Diddy, accusing him of SA. The suit accused Diddy of beginning his alleged tirade when she began filming Making the Band, saying that he used demeaning insults toward female participants. Then, while working on music, the suit claimed that Diddy forced Dawn to rehearse for hours with no sleep and took advantage of her. Dawn Richard also claimed she witnessed Diddy get physical with Cassie while high. Another former Danity Kane member, Aubrey O'Day, was also mentioned. But this is not surprising considering she has been outspoken in her support for Cassie going public with her allegations against Diddy. She also accused him of making his own inappropriate advances against her. Moving on, former Bad Boy Records president Harve Pierre was also mentioned, and this is probably because he was implicated in a lawsuit against Diddy filed by a Jane Doe. She claimed Harve Pierre convinced her to fly from Detroit to New Jersey, where she was allegedly assaulted by him and Diddy. Young Miami, no surprise there, because her involvement with Diddy is well documented. In the lawsuit that Lil Rod filed, he even said that Young Miami received a stipend for hooking up with Diddy, and allegedly transported substances for him. So most of these names make sense. But I really cannot wrap my brain around the fact that Michelle Williams was on that list. Is she going to testify against Diddy? Or was she also involved in some freaky business? What do you think was her involvement with Diddy?